Finally, we get to document D. In document D, we look at the source of the information, and we notice that in this case, the source is from an American, Charles Sumner. Okay, he's actually from, as it says, he's in the Massachusetts legislature. So we have to ask the question, we should be asking the question, why is he opposing the war? What would be a reason for an American to opposing expansion? Okay, so we see the background information. So as we read, we notice he's referring to slavery. Okay, this is a period of time in the United States where many people started becoming more cognizant or begin to realize slavery is wrong, especially if you're from a northern state. Now, some background information. Charles Sumner is from Massachusetts, the first state that actually banned slavery and abolished it. It was out of its constitution. So people from Massachusetts typically are against slavery. So we look at the reasons why he thinks that this whole war is wrong. And he talks about people already began to move to Texas. And then he talks about slaveholders. So his premise, or his reason, seems to be he's focusing on this whole issue of slavery. What is he concerned about? Why is an American concerned about slavery? Well, if you're against slavery, you obviously don't want it to expand. And so we look at the text, and he talks about how slavery is moving, it's expanding. And let's think about expanding where? It's going west. So maybe some of these people are really concerned about the expansion of slavery. So not it's just about territory, but it's also about expanding slavery. Now, as you begin writing your document, remember, there's 5 paragraphs, and you are specifically focusing on 1, the background. Background information is paragraph 1. That is where we use our background essay. And our background essay basically set the stage. What was going on at the time? Who is involved? So we look at the 2 sides, who is involved? Give some dates. Okay, so we're providing a setting much like language arts. Who's involved? Drop some names. President Polk, how is his involvement? Where does his involvement factor in the actual, the background? Then it's you begin to write. Remember, you want to bucket, you want to give the reasons for it. Was the United States justified, yes or no? But you want to know both sides of the argument. But you're focusing on yes, they were justified, or no, they weren't justified. What documents are you going to use to show that justification? And then what are your arguments? Remember, the work that you have done, much of the work that you've done, actually comes from your questions. So when we talk about what evidence, a lot of this comes from your actual text and your questions here. So if you have not done any work here, then it's very difficult for you to even write the essay. So you want to refer back to this. You will have a chance to write a rough draft of which we'll check over. So the focus is on the evidence. On Thursdays and Friday, depending on what class period you have, you'll also have a quiz. And the quiz is going to focus on the notes that you've taken from the video about the Mexican-American War. It's going to focus on the Texas annexation. You look at your Newsela article, the causes, why did Texas become independent? And it's going to focus on the whole concept of manifest destiny. I am going to use documents. So for example, you might see some documents here that are used, some parts of it in questions. So it's very important for you to read and understand these documents. I will also use some of the documents when we did the Texas annexation from the Stanford History Educational Group as questions too. So you want to be focused on that. When it comes to studying, you want to take a look at those documents. Make sure that you understand them, and that will be the focal point of the quiz.